Decent for We the People news. So, when I say never look straight forward, always look around you for the outside forces want to commit harm upon you, I mean it. And this guy that you see here right now puts a new definition in don't never look straight forward, he always looks around him, right? So I'm going to bring it's probably going to a couple of videos because really it's humorous and all that. All right. Now I don't know for facts that he's won cases this way, but remember, if they cannot have jurisdiction over you, then they have no power over you. And so, even though this is not a normal way of going into court, right? It still does not give them jurisdiction. So therefore, they can't get him. Right? Alrighty. So let's go with it. Oh, P.S. I'm not an attorney. Don't claim to be an attorney. Don't want to be an attorney. This is a learning video. Alright? So whatever is said on here, always get an attorney's advice, right? You know, I had to say this.
Notice that every time I go to court, he says, I'm going to have you taken in for a psychological evaluation. What he's telling you is Title I, Section 1, if you would for me. Sure. And now, why do they call a 1040 a 1040? Why isn't it a 1039? Why does 1040 have anything to do with it? Why not a 2038, a 6106? Why is it a 1040? Can you tell me?
Oh crap, I know this
one.
Well,
let's find out. If we understand the history, we can then build a case. And this is important to me. I'm a nerd that way, okay? Well,
okay, I got it up here.
Okay, what we're going to do is, then I'm going to go over the 1040 with you. If you look at Title I, the titles go from 1 to 50. 50 being the military, 26 is Title 26 is the Internal Revenue Code, Title 27 is the ATF, 18 is Crimes and Criminal Procedure, Title 31 is the Treasury. So there's statutes. So Title 1, Section 1, let's see what it says. I'm going to read it to you. In determining the meaning of any act of Congress, unless the context tells you otherwise. Now, who wrote Title 26? Congress. Okay? And it was printed by the GPO, the Government Printing Office. So what it's telling you is any act of Congress. There's arguments out there that will say, well, it has not been enacted into positive law. So therefore, Title 26 doesn't have anything to do with me. Any act of Congress. Congress wrote it, whether it's been enacted or not, that makes no difference. Now, the second side says words importing the singular include and apply to several persons, parties, or things.
Okay, so we stop right there. So any act of Congress that written it down, whether it's written in law or not law, right? Now, they get to make up these rules. And they got sovereign immunity to get by with these rules and laws. Okay? But it's interesting how so much stuff has been passed that we don't know about. And this is part of the problem of the situation we're in today.
I'm going to ask you, what does singular mean? Do you mind answering for me? What does singular mean?
One.
Okay, now I'm not a problem. I'm going to let you say that. You're going to prison. Do you realize that? You're going to prison. Now it's just a matter of how long. Read that for me again, line 2. Read that again for me. Out loud, please.
Words importing the singular include and apply to several persons, parties, or things.
What does singular mean?
It means the whole group.
No, it means from say. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you married by any chance? Okay, have you ever been married? Okay, if Singular wife or plural wives? What would you have? Really? So you'd have several wives, several. Now, let's read the next one. Words according to plural include the singular. What does plural mean? One. Up means down, and down means up. Do you see that or not? So what they're doing is they have a language of...
So you may have to listen to this video very carefully and really understand what he's talking about. And this is the reason why the courts get us.
their own, and they bastardize it to where on the stand, you're nervous, they're going to ask you a question. What does singular mean? One. No, sir, it means more than one. You just buried yourself. You're going to prison. You don't have a choice. Now it's just a matter of how long do you want to go? See, when they took me and they were putting me in prison for 55 years, the judge says, now because you're here, you're getting 55 years. He said, I'll tell you what, I'll cut you a deal, give you 30. So 30 years, 50 years, 1,000 years, makes no difference. I'm going to die there. So I told him, I said, man, let me make you a deal. Put me in jail for 100. And I sat down. He goes, so the judge didn't know what to say. What's he going to say? No, I'll tell you, I'll give you one more choice, 20. I said, okay, give me 120. He says, well, do you understand what you're saying? No, do you understand what you're saying? Now, I want you to think how I think. I owe you $500. Got that? Will you take 30? How much will you take? 100. Really, you wouldn't take 600? Oh, see, I'm a nut job. I told you, I'm a nut job. So he's saying you owe me 55 years, but I'll give you 30 if you'll sign this that you're guilty and say that you won't challenge anything. So I told him no. So I told him, I said, what are you, nuts? I said, if you don't give me 120 years, you ain't got hair in your ass. And I sat back down. And the judge says, I said, make it 125. Because I'm being indicted. They got the indictment broken down. They didn't have 55 years there. He said, okay, I've never done this. This is the best deal I'll ever get you. Sign this and I'll give you 10 years. I said, add another 10 years. Sounds good. Give me 160 years. I sat back down. And he says, so he had me unchained. I was chained around here, chained on my arms, chained on my ankle, and then they had an eye bolt in the floor and they had a padlock on it. So the marshals unhooked me, took me into his chambers. He said, do you know what you're doing? You think you can beat the power, the awesome power of the United States? I said, I don't know. The question is, can you beat me? See, I don't think like normal. Does that make sense? Okay, now I want you to understand what they're saying up here. Now let's read the next one. Words used in the present tense includes the future as well. Now, am I the only PhD in here?
Limu, let's get out there and help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
I'm preparing something to share with the world.
Public high school diploma. See, the first one to get. That's right. See, I got a public high school diploma. So the judge says, where'd you go to school? I said, well, I got a PhD. He says, you got a PhD? I said, well, yeah. Yeah. And he says, well, where'd you go to school? I said, Reed City High School. What? Yeah, I got a public high school diploma. He couldn't believe it. He punched that thing and threw the gavel at me. And I went, you missed me. See, he says, are you making a mockery of the court? I said, no, that shit's already sailed. See, I understand jurisdiction, okay? Now, what does jurisdiction mean? Does anybody know? Okay, let me ask it this way. There's two jurisdictions. There's in rem, which is subject matter, and in personam. Which one's the most important for the judge to have in order to try you in that court? In rem, subject matter, or in personam? Which one's the most important? No, you're incorrect. Which one's the most important? I'm sorry? Both of them.
No, thank you for the education.
No, sir. You're wrong again. You have to have both. district court. The federal district court gives my wife everything. What did she just get? Nothing. Federal district court has no jurisdiction in divorce. You gotta go to family court. Oh. See the problem we have? If we think of that, we'll never get stung in court again. So the question is, how do you give the court jurisdiction? This is where I tore their head off. Okay, go ahead.
Just by saying the wrong.
No.
Walking in.
No. See, now, if the court, okay, go ahead.
Going forward out of the gap.
All right, now that you said that, so I walk forward, I'm talking, and I walk in, and I sign a document, giving it to the judge. Now, what does my wife get in federal district court? What does my wife get now in federal district court? We've done everything you said. What does she get now?
She gets nothing.
Why is that?
Because they have no jurisdiction.
Duh! See, if there is no jurisdiction, they don't have it. So, how do you give the court jurisdiction? You can't. It's impossible. You couldn't give it to them if you begged them for it. Now, let me tell you why. Again, I figured this out because I'm going to prison for 55 years. They could have subject matter. That is a possibility. But the Bill of Rights says we have inalienable rights. Let me give you another word for inalienable, lienable. Our rights are not lienable. What is the court trying to do?
Lienable.
You can't. That would be illegal. They're going to prison. I've had 3 federal judges banned from coming back, and they're off the bench today. Why? Because they're trying to lien my rights. Let me give you an example. I got his ticket. When I got to court, the first thing out of my mouth was, does this court have jurisdiction? What do you think they said? Yes.
They always say yes.
Okay, and I said, no, can I see it? What do you think he said? No. I said, okay, I got a question. I got a ticket right here. I got a ticket. So that's a transportation ticket. This is a transportation code court. Would that be reasonable? The judge goes, I said, is that a reasonable request? Because you said you had it. I got a transportation ticket. So it's a transportation code court. He says, well, yeah. Okay. Under the transportation code 541.201, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. It says transportation is for commercial use only. So guess what? I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, you know, I can beat my chest harder than you. I got more hair in my chest. I can shave better. I'm taller. I'm shorter. I'm bigger. I'm smaller. I'm not going to argue that with them. I'm a sovereign. Who in here is not a taxpayer? Can you raise your hand for me? Define it.
Well, if you're paying taxes, then by definition, you're a slave. You're
No, sir.
working for the government for nothing.
No, sir. Do you buy gasoline?
It's all in your, whenever you spend money, it's built in.
A lot of times it is.
Oh, okay, so you're paying taxes. So everybody's a taxpayer. So when you go in there and say, well, I'm not a taxpayer, guess what you've just done?
Why?
No, but you're putting yourself in a position you can't fight from that position. I don't do that. Now, watch this. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to answer it for me, then I'm going to have you ask me the same question. Do you mind? Okay. You're the dumbest man in this room. Now answer that. If you don't answer, I'll just put you in prison for 90 days. I don't care. So answer it.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Okay, so you agree. Now, I want you to go in front of you're going to have to go in front of get a mental evaluation. Now, say the same thing to me so I can show you how to answer it.
You're the dumbest man in this room.
Thank you. What proof do you have that I'm the dumbest? Okay? I object to that. One, struck it from the record. When I was in court, they would say things like that. Well, what proof do you have? Strike it from the record. Judge, strike it. I was there 9.5 hours. At the end of the day, they had 4 questions they could use. That's it.
Okay, Gary, let's do role playing since we're short on time.
Absolutely. No
Okay,
problem.
Which one do you want to do? You want to do you're coming in for a ticket?
We can do it for, I would really, let me do it for property taxes. Anybody in here got property tax and want to know how to get out from under it? Okay, the only one, so we can do whatever you want.
Okay. All right, Mr. Zolman, you've got 86, you're trying to 86 and 55.
Okay.
Oh, see here, you're not guilty on the statement here. I need to go ahead and fill this out.
Okay.
Check right there.
I can't
Well,
because I'm innocent.
we don't have that one. You have to,
Okay,
you have to,
no problem.
You're right there.
Okay, then I'm a black, 48-year-old black woman. Because I'm not that either.
Okay. Well, anyway, you owe the court $323. You want to go ahead and pay for right now?
I'd love to. I've got a form here. You fill this form out and tell me what you'll take to accept this payment. Put 31, 24, title.
No, we don't use those. You have to use our forms. You know, it's.
I don't-
Now, we can go ahead and ask later on for, bench trial or jury trial, but right now,
I can't, okay.
I mean, see, the thing is, you're gonna have to hire a lawyer, you have to come back, it may take 8 hours. It's better just go ahead and pay it, get it over with.
Yes, it is. I'll be glad to pay it. Tell me what specie you accept as payment.
We accept, now here's what they always say, cash,
Beautiful.
MasterCard.
Okay, well, can I bring it tomorrow? Because cash is pesos. Go to the airport, 1,600 pesos is $1. So now what? We'll take currency, not a problem. Pesos is currency, not a problem.
Okay, what we'll do then, you want a jury trial, right? That's what you're saying, you're not gonna.
No,
you're
I'm
fighting this.
I'm not fighting anything.
Here's 31 USC,
I'm not fighting anything.
3124.
I'm not fighting anything. I don't understand. I don't understand. So the question is, are you stopping me from having a fair trial?
No.
Okay, then what specie do you accept for payment? The word specie is money. What type of money?
So you understand what he did? We role played, he reversed everything.
So I don't care what they say.
Why don't you want to come here, Jody, let's do, he'll do it to you. We need practice.
See, let me show you here real quick. Let's read Title 31. That's Money and Finance, Section 3124. Do you mind reading? Can you read the very first A? Read it for us.
Stocks and obligations of the United States government are exempt from taxation by the state.
Okay, or a political subdivision of a state. So what is untaxable?
Stocks and obligations of the United States government.
Everything, stocks and
No, sir, not everything. Tires, eyeballs, hair. I told you I'm an asshole. I made you define it because you saw why. Okay, so are eyeballs taxable?
according to them, yeah.
Really? Okay, so then they're not exempt. They're not a obligation. So we can tax anything that's not an obligation. So I don't know if they are or not. So stocks and obligations of the federal government are exempt from taxation by a state or political subdivision of a state. That exemption applies to every form of taxation. Property tax, sales tax, car tax, tire tax, anything. They're exempt from taxation. I go to Title 18, 17. What is a federal obligation? Does anybody know?
Section 8, 18.8.
18.8. Title 18 is crimes and criminal procedure. If you violate Title 18, that's a felony.
There you go.
Section 8, obligations or other securities of the United States defined. Well, don't we want to know what it is? Would you read tell me, would you read what a obligation is? Read it out loud so we all can hear it.
The term obligations or other securities of the United States includes all bonds, certificates of indebtedness, national bank currency, Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve bank notes, coupons, United States notes, treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposit, bills, checks, or drafts for money drawn by or upon authorized officers of the United States, stamps and other representatives of value or whatever denomination issued under any act of Congress and canceled United States stamps.
Okay, so Federal Reserve notes are exempt from taxation by a state, period, or a political typical subdivision is.
So how do they get away with sales tax?
Ain't that simple? Well, wait a minute. It's simple. There's a form. The government has a form. Texas has a form. The form says you're exempt from taxation. Sign it, turn it in. I pay no sales tax at anything. I have, if you want to see it, I'll show it to you. It's in my truck. But when I go to Walmart, I put in my phone number, it takes it off. I go to Home Depot, it takes it off. I go to Lowe's, it takes it off. I go to Lumber Liquidators, it takes it off. Doesn't matter. I don't pay sales tax on anything. I buy tires for my truck, don't pay sales tax. So if you spend $30,000 a year on items, at 10%, that's $3,000. Again, I don't want to get into the exact math. Could you use $3,000 a year?
Who could?
Oh, now all of a sudden, you're giving it to the government. Why? Well, I didn't know. Oh. Now, since you didn't know, you stand there, open your legs, I kick you in the groin as hard as I can. Would that hurt? Would it hurt?
Oh, yeah, probably.
It would hurt me. Now, wait a minute. Would it hurt you? See, the answer is hurt whom? That's how I do everything. Would it hurt? I don't know. Hurt whom? Well, would it hurt you? Yes. Now, I've got them focused. They're in the box. Anytime they talk about kicking in the groin, they're talking about me. No one else. See? Now, let me ask you a question. What color is a blue shirt? Can you tell me that? What color is a blue shirt?
Pink.
Okay. That's a pretty good answer.
That's a good one.
See, so the best answer, that's a great answer, would be to whom? Or to you? Well, I don't know, I'm colorblind. So everything looks great to me, I guess it would be great. Now, again, they're on defense. I don't play defense. Does that make sense? Everything that I do, I take the definitions of what they say and I make them define it.
Okay, so is that the same thing with property tax?
Well, of course, I have a form. If you will put in form, definition, Black's Law. Do you know what? Okay, define form for me. We do a form. We do a 1040 form, or we do a government form. Would you define form for me?
Form is a document requesting information.
Okay, so it's a document requesting information. Oh. Huh. Okay. My answer would be, I have no idea. What is it? Let them tell me that. See, I don't define it. I won't define nothing. Okay, now, did you find it? Okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you what it is. Now, I have a form that I made up that I take and send it to the government on property taxes, asking them. There's no CC because on your statement, there's no dollar sign. So my question is, I'm confused. Please tell me what specie you will accept. And I add all those at the top. You know, Federal Reserve notes and all that. And then I tell them, if you don't tell me, then you agree that my tax bill is paid in full. Because you can't pay a debt with a debt. You can't. And that's the problem. Okay, did you find it?
Every time I go somewhere, it takes me somewhere else.
Right. Just put in, if you will, on your Google or whatever it is, put in. And if you don't find it, I'll just quote it to you. But put in form, definition, Black's Law. Yeah, try that.
That's what it is.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what it is. Yeah, try the top one. What it is? Let's just see if it tells you.
That's what it does.
Okay. All right. Let me tell you what a form is. Let me tell you what a form is, okay? A form is a model or a skeleton of an instrument to be used in a judicial proceeding. A judicial proceeding is a court of law.
It says it right up there, actually. I don't know why it goes to that. You're not, but it says that a model or skeleton of an instrument to use in a judicial proceeding.
Okay? It's written in a methodical order that can be changed or adapted to the situation. Now, what is a form? Now, it's not what you thought it was, is it? So I don't care what you thought. That's why I defined everything. So can anybody tell me what a form is now?
Judicial.
No, sir. It's a model or skeleton of an instrument. So a form is an instrument. The word instrument is a will, a bond, a contract, or one other thing. So when you fill out the bond saying, I want to give you that piece of property. So tax it.
So I got a question now.
Yeah.
So when we go to Tarrant County, Judge Whitley, I call him Whitley's commissioner, they have a form that
Yeah.
we have to fill out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to sign that. I don't want to do it because I think when I fill that out, you're getting money off my trust.
Okay, see? Okay, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you.
I know you're going to say don't, but I don't want him to hear that yet.
Okay.
Because he's learning that. So don't go there.
All right.
I know what you're going to say.
All right.
Just stick with this part about the farm. But he's created a farm that's not judicial over there. That's
Okay, but what you're trying to do, see? Okay, now, I'm not.
Video's long enough as it is right now. So, this guy thinks outside the box. He's not looking straight forward, he's always looking around. So you can take this with a grain of salt and see how this plays out. And I may make another video of this guy, because he does bring up interesting points. Okay? Because number one, we talked about this many times, right? This whole thing he's talking about, even though he's yapping, he's not understanding what the courts are saying, right? But he's twisting it, right? And I have not seen anybody else actually do this. And this right here, most people probably couldn't come up with this on a dime. All right, so this is probably out of most people's league. But this guy right here is on his game, right? They cannot get jurisdiction because he never gives it, never understands. Alright, so this is Diesel for We the People News. I may make another one with him. Till next time, y'all. Bye.